What's going on? This is Big G from G Riders and welcome to another episode of Testing Rides. Today I'm going to be testing out the 2018 Mazda CX-5 Grand Touring. Welcome to the 2018 Mazda CX-5. Originally introduced back in 2013, this was the long overdue successor to the Mazda CX-7. And the Mazda CX-5 improved on many ways over the CX-7, except it got rid of the turbocharged engine, which was kind of a disappointment. But getting rid of that turbocharged engine, this car gained a lot of fuel economy, safety features, and just overall quality from the last one. This is the second generation of the Mazda CX-5, and basically they took everything that worked well with the first generation CX-5 and applied it to this new model, and they just made it a little bit more modern looking. So they made the headlights and taillights a lot smaller, just to kind of make it look a little more aggressive, and they changed the grille up a lot. And honestly, I like the way this looks because the first one looked good, it looked pretty aggressive, but I just felt like some of the dimensions were a little kind of big, and now they've kind of make it look a little more sleek and a little bit smaller. They made it look way better. So this is the 2018 Mazda CX-5 Grand Touring. So this one comes with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder making 187 horsepower and 186 foot-pounds of torque. And this vehicle weighs about 3,600 pounds. But despite weighing 3,600 pounds, this vehicle does get a very, very, very good 24 in the city and 30 out on the highway. And this vehicle is all-wheel drive, so that's probably one of the better gas mileage of a standard 4-cylinder, SUV in this car class. But because it only has 187 horsepower and 3,600 pounds, it's not very fast. Yeah, not fast at all. But this SUV is not about being fast. It's about being comfortable, getting good fuel economy, and getting to your destination safely. As I said before, this is the Grand Touring model, so this is the highest spec in the CX-5's range. So this one starts at about $30,000. That's for the front-wheel drive version, but this is the all-wheel drive version, so this one is $32,000. And this bad boy is loaded up. It has some nice black leather seats, Bose sound system, lots of safety features like radar cruise control, rear cross traffic alert, and blind spot monitoring, and a bunch of other stuff that's just straight standard on this vehicle. And at $32,000, that's kind of one of the best bangs for the buck in this class. Like my parents, they too have a 2017 Ford Escape. Their Escape doesn't have hardly any of the safety features, and their car was $35,000. All right, let's go ahead and get in the car and see how it's looking on the inside. Hop on here and see what it's looking like in here. Alright, welcome to the interior of the 2018 Mazda CX-5. As you can tell, like the interior of the CX-5 is really nice and it's laid out really well. I like the quality of everything, so just feel the dash. The dash feels nice and soft. Everything that you touch feels pretty nice. This little leather piece in the dash with the nice stitching. It's not a contrast stitching. It's kind of a contrast stitching because it's a slightly different color. I wish I had the same contrast stitching, which is like on the seats here. Like if you look at the seats here, it's black with a brown contrast stitching. That would have been nice to be on the dash too. But I also like this like fake wood, like this fake looking wood material here. Yes, it's not real wood at all. I mean, it's clearly plastic, but it looks really nice. And then the aluminum finish around the vents, it just looks well put together. And then if we're going down here, it has this piano black around the shifter and the sport button. Same thing like kind of like the Mazda 3 I reviewed last year. And then all this stuff is all matte. Honestly, I don't like that this is matte just because it doesn't really match everything in the car. And like if you're like using this and like eating french fries or something like that, this would get greasy and gross, and I feel like they should figure out a different way to do that. But it does look good. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Alright, so coming up here to the climate control area, the buttons are kind of they're kind of small and kind of hard to use. I know like if you buy the car you'll get used to it, but it's kind of hard to do. Like it's nice that there's two knobs just to, change the temperature on both sides, but I found myself yesterday when I was driving on the road, I was looking for the off button quite a bit. And honestly, I just don't think that I should have to look for that. That should be like this, like push in here to turn it on or turn it off. But that's just my opinion. The heated seat controls are really nice up here. And then let's direct attention to the infotainment system. So I really like this. I really like the knob to change everything here. Like, Mazda's been doing this for a couple years now, and I think it works really well for them. Like, you know, you got all your basic stuffs there, you know, all that. And then, like, once you get used to the car, you just have the three. So you got your audio, you got your home, and then you got your nav button, which is really nice. And I'm glad that they made this so simple now. And then you got your favorites for radio. It's really nice. It's really easy. It's really intuitive. And then if you're standing still, you can use the touchscreen. So you can hit that, go back, hit the touchscreen, go to settings, hit home, go to applications, all that. Pretty easy to use. And I still wish this thing had Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or something like that, because at this point in 2018, most cars have it, and they're one of the last ones that don't. But, you know, they'll add it at some point. And another thing that I wish it did, like, I used to wish that the screen would like retract into the dash, but at this, like, they made it sit kind of more flush in the dash now, so it doesn't look so like random and out of place. But it looks better now. Like, I like the design, how they kind of built it into the dash, not just stuck it on top like how some Mercedes products do right now. One thing I really like on the CX-5 is they added a digital little info window here. So you got you got how many miles on it? 676 miles on this car right now. You got a digital gas gauge there, and then you get all your basic information right there. And then you have this one right here is for your radar cruise control. So when you're driving along, if you start slipping out your lane, typically these lanes are both solid white, and if you're slipping out your lane, it'll turn red, and the steering wheel will vibrate and put you back into your lane. And then when you're in radar cruise control, it shows you how far, you know, your following distance. So basically, you can have either, you know, four car lengths in front of have somebody 4 car lengths in front of you, or all the way down to 1 car length in front of you. It's really nice. I like it quite a bit. And then over here, this is where they show. This is where you show what gear you're in, if you're in the sport mode or anything like that, or not. That's all right there. And okay, so I really like this infotainment window here. The only issue I have with it is you can't do anything with your media. Like, I feel like they should have like something in there, like a menu in there that says, you know, what song you're listening to, and maybe the album art or something like that. I think that, even though I do like the settings in there, I think that's kind of a wasted opportunity for Mazda to add something else, some other integration. So I know that, you know, you could just go here and click the media button and go there, but if you're driving on the highway, like, you don't really have time to do that. And like, say for instance, you're on the highway, you're driving along, you got your navigation up, and so yeah, the song is coming up there, but it'd be nice to be able to see it in there too, like kind of more in the line of sight of the driver. But that's just a small gripe with this area. But for the most part, the front of the cabin of the CX-5 is really nice. It's laid out really well. Mazda did a great job designing this. All right, hopping into the back seat of the Mazda CX-5, and there's a lot of room back here. Like, I'm 6'1", over 300 pounds, and it's a pretty decent sized back seat. Like, I can put my feet under the seats really well. That's a big plus to having the back seat be comfortable or not. Like, you know, you got a little center armrest with the cup holder and everything there, and honestly, like, and the seats do recline a little bit. Like, it's not a bad place to be. But one complaint I do have about it though is most cars in this car class at this point, they have a panoramic sunroof. They have a panoramic sunroof as an option, or that's the sunroof option. And you know, it kind of just feels a little bit dark back here, honestly. But you know, Mazda added eventually, but right now it's not available, and I wish they would make it available when they did this redesign. Also, in the back seat is lacking things like USB ports. Most cars in this class have USB ports in the back for its back seat passengers. I mean, it does have vents back here, but it'd be nice to see some USB ports too. All right, let's take a look at the back and see how much space is back here. So the cargo area in the CX-5 is pretty decent. So this is my Pelican case, my camera case, and this is about the size of a normal like big about a mid-sized luggage, and you can fit quite a bit back here. Like I probably can squeeze probably about like 3 or 4 of these back here, which is pretty cool. And then like I got my tripod almost like more than halfway extended, and it fits back here pretty nice. Like this CX-5 has a good amount of space back here. I'll put up the exact numbers that this vehicle has right here. Bow. Not bad at all. Definitely not best in class, but also it's not worst in class either. It's like about average. Welcome to the 2018 Mazda CX-5 driving portion. So Mazdas kind of have this reputation nowadays for having vehicles that are pretty dynamic to drive, and this 2018 Mazda CX-5 follows that same exact recipe. This car is a blast to drive. I mean, this is a small crossover, and I'm having just as much fun in this car driving as I am like in something like my Golf GTI. So let's go ahead and put it into sport mode. You see sport mode came up there. Downshift a couple gears. We got some corners coming up. So going around these corners in the CX-5, it feels really confidence inspiring, honestly. Like the transmission is pretty smooth and pretty quick. It's a nice little sound out of the 4-cylinder, out of the Skyactiv 2.5 liter. I mean, there's only 187 horsepower in this vehicle, which honestly isn't really enough considering this car is like 3,600 pounds, but it's not bad, honestly. Like I kind of like it. This engine has a little bit of character to it. Like it revs pretty high, and it's pretty responsive. A pretty responsive little engine. When you're in the sport mode and the manual mode, it, you know, drives sporty. As you can see, that's full throttle right there. It's not the fastest SUV in the world, but honestly, you know, SUVs in this size don't need to be fast, but more power is always welcome. Besides the sporty ride, kind of what else is good about this car? Honestly, there's a lot. So I drove this car about 250 miles yesterday, and it was a very, very quiet and comfortable vehicle to drive. So this car has like radar cruise control and lane keep assist and everything like that. So basically, you could drive down the highway and you honestly don't have to do a lot. Like I've been driving more and more cars lately with the radar cruise control, and the more and more I'm starting to love it. And the Mazda CX-5 here, that system works very, very well. Honestly, like kind of the road noise was more than I expected, honestly, but it wasn't bad. Cars I've driven that doesn't have much road noise and stuff, like cars like the Ford Escape and cars and SUVs like that, like there's not much road noise in the Ford Escape. I give them that, but and this definitely has a little more road noise than a Ford Escape. But as for fun to drive, this definitely beats it. So another great thing about this Mazda CX-5 is the ride. The ride is really, really comfortable. I mean, like, there's nothing that you can really go over that creates a very jarring ride. Like, you could go over some rough terrain, and you know, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable, but it's not gonna be back-breaking. Like on just like this regular road here that I'm on, like the road is really, the ride is really comfortable. It's not too stiff, yet it's not boaty and floaty, which is really nice. And that's kind of getting back to what I was saying, that Mazdas have kind of been known for having a very sporty but comfortable ride. What people don't realize, they always want a quick vehicle, that you either get a quick vehicle or you get fuel economy, and this vehicle gets very good fuel economy. So on my 250-mile road trip yesterday, I averaged about 30 miles to the gallon on the highway, which is about what EPA estimates. And I was going about averaging about 73 miles an hour on the highway the whole time, and it still managed to get 30 miles to the gallon, which is really nice. Like, not many, you can't say many SUVs with nearly 200 horsepower. With nearly 200 horsepower and in a good all-wheel drive system, getting 30 miles to the gallon on the highway. Like, that's pretty remarkable, honestly. And Mazda has a cylinder deactivation system too, even though it's a 4-cylinder. So basically, when you're at cruising speeds, it shuts off half the cylinders, which is crazy. So it goes down to basically a 2-cylinder when in cruising mode, and that's how it gets that 30 miles to the gallon. And honestly, I feel like that's one of the best fuel economies in this class. I think most other SUVs in this size with this power gets about 28, 29 between 26 and 28 on the highway, which, you know, that's good too. But 30 is a good number to have in these crossovers. Imagine, like, especially how popular these crossovers are getting nowadays. You really need to shoot, like, SUVs in this class need to shoot for the 30 miles to the gallon number. So I've been talking really good about this vehicle. What are some things I don't like about it? Well, honestly, there's nothing I really don't like about this vehicle. Like, I wish that this had the heads-up display like the Mazda 3s, and I'm pretty sure the CX-9s get. It'd be nice, because this is a Grand Touring trim, so this is the top spec trim, and it doesn't have any of that stuff. Second thing, I wish that this infotainment system had Apple CarPlay. This infotainment system is really good in this Mazda. Like, the navigation system is really nice. The operation, having the knobs down here where I can kind of feel around is really nice to have. But it'd be nice to see Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in these vehicles, just because, and you know, that's the standard now. I mean, Mazda is one of the last brands to even try to put it in their vehicles, but honestly, the infotainment system is good. But besides that, everything is really good in this car. And the biggest plus about this car is the price of this car. So this is a 2018 Mazda CX-5 Grand Touring. If you don't know what Mazda is, if you don't know Mazda's trims, the Grand Touring is typically the highest spec on most vehicles, except for the CX-9 that has the signature model. But that's kind of a whole different story. But this Mazda, this top spec Mazda CX-5 all-wheel drive with most of the options, you can only add one option package, which is like $1,500. I don't remember what that one is called. I'll put the name of it here. But if you know, this is top of the line, and it's only $31,000. $31,000. So I've told you guys, like, when I've reviewed mid-size SUVs, my parents have a 2017 Ford Escape Titanium. Their Ford Escape doesn't have as much equipment as this, and that Escape is $35,000. So Mazda's definitely bringing some very good bang for the buck when it comes to the only other crossover I feel like is going to bring this type of bang for the buck is vehicles like the Hyundai Tucson. But besides that, this is pretty good. This is really good bang for the buck. This is the most competitive segment in the market nowadays. Everybody makes a compact SUV, and if they don't, they will at some point. And honestly, this compact SUV is really good. I mean, if you're looking at a compact SUV, I know this is definitely on your list. And you know, remember, I say this all the time, I do work for a rental car company, so I drive a lot of different SUVs. And this, if you're an enthusiast and you enjoy driving a vehicle but you need an SUV, this is definitely the vehicle for you. I feel like all the other crossovers in this class don't handle this well. I know there's some do, but not all of them handle this well. And honestly, like, for the size and the weight and the power and everything, this is definitely the best bang for the buck. And the segment, like, it's kind of crazy that the best bang for the buck in the segment nowadays, it happened to be one of the better driving vehicles in the segment. So if you're looking at a small crossover, you definitely should take a look at the 2018 Mazda CX-5. If you like this video, hit me with the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and keep riding with me. Thanks for watching.